evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to this evening's July 14th, 2025 Town of Barnstable Open Space Committee meeting. And to begin with, I will have to read this. Oh, wait. Okay. I'd like to go around the room and have everybody identify themselves if they would. That's both everybody along the wall, around the table. That'd be great. Okay.
Tracy Pratt, get to it.
Yeah. Doug Payson, Barnstable Village.
Dave Laurel, Centerville.
Chris Clark, Town Council Liaison.
Kate Gulliver, Hyannis.
Liz Lewis, West Barnstable.
Margo Dorn, AmeriCorps member.
Grace Rogers, Property Manager, Asset Management.
Jen Zeno, Administrative Assistant.
And I'm Farley Lewis. I'm sitting in for Lev this evening. And
I'm Dave Lafreniere. I'm here representing New England Mountain Bike Association.
Kyle Pedicini from the Planning Department.
Lindsay Council from the Community Preservation Committee.
okay. Thank you all very much for attending this evening. I appreciate your showing up. That's great. Begin with the notice of recording. This meeting of the Open Space Committee is recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20. I must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, to please make their presence known. Okay. First of all, I want to welcome David, our newest member, to the Open Space Committee. Congratulations and welcome aboard. It's great to have you. And then the next thing I wanted to do is to approve the minutes from June 9th, 2025. So everybody comprehend the minutes and agree
So
with them?
moved.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, sounds like they're approved. Very good. Okay, so we'll start off with the pathways update with Grace. And is there anybody else you wanted to include with your presentation? Yes. Okay, great. Okay, and you're from AmeriCorps, so then take it away.
All right, thank you. So again, my name is Grace Rogers. I'm the Property Management. I'm here with Asset Management. It's always lovely when I get to spend my evenings with open space. I need to. Sorry. That's all right. All right. Margo introduce herself.
I'm Margo. I'm the AmeriCorps Cape Cod Individual Placement for the Town of Barnstable Asset Management. I also serve with Barnstable Land Trust. And my big project for the first half of this year was inventorying Cape Cod pathways and going over everything that's existing in terms of documentation and then also what's happening in terms of the actual trails. And so that's what I've been doing.
Very grateful for her.
Do you have it? Maybe we're better off using that.
I know, it's okay. Technical difficulties. All right, so a little background on the Cape Cod Pathways is that it was conceived by the Barnstable County Commissioners in 1993. And essentially what they were hoping and dreaming of was having a continuous pathway from one end of the Cape to another that you could walk. The intent of it was to enable residents and visitors to enjoy and learn about natural and recreational, historical, and cultural values of Cape Cod, enhance access for walkers and hikers alike to Cape woodlands, ponds, beaches, and historical villages, foster the preservation of open space in order to protect scenic views, wildlife habitat, and sensitive natural areas. So originally when they started this, all 15 towns, they had buy-in for it, but once they started to actually draft and establish plans, when they went to each of the select boards and town councils, not every town decided to implement this. This was something that was rolled out over the course of a decade. As you will see, the town of Barnstable, the plan that we have, of which I printed some out. It's over 60 pages, so I didn't print out a ton. But we have enough for people to skim through as we go along here. But ours was drafted and the plan was approved in 2003 by town council, and that's the only approved plan that we have at the moment. And during that time, when the initiative was still being rolled out by the county and it was still being endorsed, we received a grant from the county to do this plan. Since then, I've had some conversations with the county. They've since abandoned the plan because, of course, they can't do it from end to end of the Cape, which is really unfortunate. But we were able to get some more Cape Cod Pathway signs from them, of which we will be putting up into the trail to help with navigating people, because we know that signage is tough out there. So since then, over the course of like the last 10 to 15 years, we've been blessed with AmeriCorps to help us, such as Margot, to go out and survey the existing conditions, what could help with mapping, blazing, but the trail has never been completed yet in the Barnstable segment, and is something that we're interested in hopefully pursuing. We do want to try to get away from private easements, not necessarily because they're a bad thing, it's just hard to get public buy-in because it's hard to either contact the people with the land parcels or people simply don't want them. Other than that, since 2003, a lot of the original parcels where the trail was going through has changed either because the property's been sold off or something's been built there and we have to navigate around it. So originally for the Barnstable main goal, the trail plan is exactly what we just discussed, is to identify and describe the most feasible east-west route for a dedicated walking trail through Barnstable based on existing environmental and cultural factors. And then there's many objectives. We can go through them because I do think that they are important. I typically don't like to be very verbiage heavy on PowerPoints, but I think for the sake of the plan, it's important. So to maximize inclusion of publicly accessible land and to minimize inclusion of private property, just what we said, trying to get away from easements on private property if we can, that was established in the plan originally. To minimize new trail cutting by maximizing use of existing paths, trails, and cartways. One of my favorite sayings from Kelly Barber over at BLT is the best way to use a path is to encourage more people to use it. The more users there are, the more good behavior we have in our trails. Also to provide buffers between the pathways and private developed areas, such as residential subdivisions whenever possible, to avoid wetland crossings, of course, steep slopes and other sensitive natural areas wherever possible, to provide a variety of scenes and experiences, to minimize road crossings for safe walking, to cross traveled roads over where safe sight distances are available, to avoid walking on road shoulders wherever possible, obviously for safety reasons, to provide occasional access to rest and refreshment facilities such as restrooms and markets. I don't believe we have those on our trails, but perhaps something we could look into if possible. To provide endpoints near likely inter-town and intermodal pathway connections. To provide trailheads and parking areas convenient to residents and visitors anywhere in the vicinity. This is a huge goal of ours currently. To include segments appropriate to coincide with potential disabled access recreational routes, always a plus. And to create loop trails off the central trail. So currently, I apologize, I probably should have printed out some larger ones, but these are available on the website via the conservation page. This is what we currently have for the trail pathway network for mapping. I have talked to GIS, Margot's been working with GIS, and we're looking to update these. Alicia's been really stellar in looking at new, innovative ways to get, obviously, off the paper routes, which is really good to have, but we can be better, such as putting them on mobile devices. So I've been working with her in hopes that we can, she has me doing a GIS class in September to help her do some mapping. So that way if we have people in the woods, people know where they're going if they were ever to get lost, and just because it's convenient to have. So these are the ones that we currently have.
Okay.
And the blazes do respond. They're the same, they correspond to what's out there. Trail conditions to Margot?
So in the beginning of this year, I spent a lot of time with Kelly Barber and Caroline Lawrence, the land stewards at BLT, walking the trails. And as you can see from these pictures, a lot of the kiosks are broken, missing maps. Some of the maps are faded, so you can't really read them. So that's a problem when you're navigating it. So when you're walking actual Cape Cod pathways, you have to bring a map with you. And also, when you go on, if you're at the trailhead, a lot of times they'll have a QR code at the kiosk, but it leads directly to the town website, which if you don't know necessarily where the maps are on the town website, you might give up, might not look for it, that kind of thing, which can be difficult to encourage people to like go and use the trails when they can't access the maps. And the other things we saw was the green blaze is really hard to see against green foliage. So it's really hard to tell, or if it looks like lichen, it's really hard to tell. And then the blue blaze looks similar to the town's purple, especially in the Bridge Creek Conservation Area, which is really confusing because they go two different directions, but they diverge from each other. So if it's raining and they look the same, you have no idea which way you want to go.
There's a lot of different stakeholders for the Cape Cod Pathways. The plan identifies some key players when this was established in 2003. I've identified some additional since then. And of course, there's many internal ones such as asset management, conservation, DPW, planning and development, IT, external EMS, of course, town council, open space, VLT, so forth, and so forth. And obviously, if anybody, you know anyone that wants to become a stakeholder, wants to participate in maintaining the pathways, we're always open to volunteering and partnering with anyone else. I did do a stakeholder feedback survey. It wasn't for statistical analysis whatsoever. It was just to get a general pulse of how people are using the trails, what they've observed while out there. I sent it to 40 people. We got 6 responses, so not a great sample size, but some feedback is better than none. We see that most people are out monthly, most being from the 6 people, and then most people have had a good experience. One of the largest things that we've identified internally, and it seems that external stakeholders have identified, is signage. We do have to go out and redo the blazing and redo the blazing key. That is something that we hope not just to do for the Cape Cod Pathways, but to coincide with all the other trails that we have, because we have blazing keys for all of our pathways and they should mesh together well. Something that we've talked to conservation about and they have endorsed with us moving forward with. And what types of signage would improve your experience? Trail names and distances, blazing or color-coded markers, and you are here maps. And something that's been discussed is parking. There's not a lot of parking to access the trails, nor is it identified, so that is something that we also want to work on, so that people can either park on the shoulder of a road if it's safe to do so, if we have some property that people can, we can do 2 or 3 spots, therefore people can get on instead of having to rely on like the Cape Cod community parking lot or so like YMCA. It's not always ideal nor apparent where the Cape Cod Pathway starts, ends, or if there's a segment that you can jump in on. Additional feedback, improved trail maintenance with qualified volunteers. Something that I have discussed internally is bringing back something like the Friends of Cape Cod Pathways or perhaps the Friends of Barnstable, so that we could have qualified land steward volunteers to not just improve our pathways for the Cape Cod network, or the Cape Cod Pathway Network, but for all our trails, because that has been identified that we need more capacity to do such. Trails that are not official trails should not be mapped. I don't know whether or not that's the case with the maps that we have provided, but it's something that we will be looking at. A central contact needs to be designated for trail issues. At the moment, I am one of those people, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm always the best contact, so we will continue having discussions for that as well, so that it's a streamlined process to address those issues. And the survey needs to be revamped due to limited data collection, which I wholeheartedly agree with. Because it was not good data collection for a statistical analysis. But if done again, we would do a better job and it would be better for quantitative and qualitative data collection. And these are our recommendations. Marta?
Yeah, so overall, like we've been talking about, the blazing needs to be redone. The big thing with Cape Cod Pathways is the color of the blazes are hard, especially with the town ones. I saw that a lot of really long distance trails that go over multiple sections do white as their main trail blaze color. So I find that to be probably a little bit easier to see, probably a better color to use. And then there's also maybe an orange that can be used instead of the blue, but overall that might have to be talked to with conservation. And then kiosks, I would love to see those be updated, so actual maps are updated with accurate QR codes and everything like that. The current open space links are kind of out of date. The AmeriCorps label logo is incorrect right now, so if we could update it to the correct AmeriCorps label, that'd be great. The big thing is Barnstable Land Trust is on a lot of that paperwork, and the linkage on open space is currently set as the main contact, which doesn't make sense because a lot of it is owned by the town land. So it makes more sense for the town to be the main contact. So if we could update that, that would be great. And then, like Grace has talked about before, the addition to more parking areas or making it more obvious where to park, especially in the beginning or the end of the trail.
Thank you. So that's the end of our presentation.
Okay.
So if there's any comments, questions, we can take them now.
Questions, comments? Anyone? Stakeholders? Anyone?
Well, I would just say that I was part of the original Trail Steward group, and I may be the last one, or I think Tracy is the Trail Steward at, over at Santuit Preserve, but I'm basically the trails in Barnstable Village, and I walk them every day, and I pick up after people, and I report if there are ATV use to Chris Nappy from Natural Resources. And and probably one of the big things that I think is really important is the trailhead signs. And we've talked about it for about 3 years. And if you use the town of Harwich as a model, and the town of Chatham has followed with Harwich, and they use the same signage for both the town trails and the land trust trails. So the Harwich Conservation Trust and the town of Harwich use the same trailhead signs, the brown hiker signs. I think particularly when we're trying to reach out to underserved communities, people specifically in Hyannis, that in the outlying villages, folks don't know where the trails are. And even within Hyannis, that there is a JFK or a Kennedy Legacy Trail that's laid out, but with the new work that's being done for a trail to Calmus Beach and the upgraded sidewalks along Gosnold Street, to look at urban trails also. I would also say that we operate under a data design where we drive to a conservation area, and it's not just for hiking. That's the other thing, is that a lot of these trails are used by mountain bikers. So it's a combination of passive recreational uses with hikers and bikers, and in the winter cross-country skiers. That's another thing. People don't know what the etiquette is for cross-country skiing. So I'll go cross-country skiing and then people will walk in the tracks. So it kind of ruins cross-country skiing, but since it rarely snows here anymore, I can only go to the golf course. So, but I do think that by letting people know about the trails, and I would echo what Kelly Barber says, the more people in the woods, the more eyes there are on what's going on. And so if people see ATVs and motorcycles, illegal dumping, unauthorized trails, all of those things are benefited by more people in the woods.
Yeah, absolutely. For the trailhead project, Kyle and I were just talking about today, the grant coordinator, Alice Marcus Craig, has been working very hard and getting us some funding, which that will become to fruition very soon. So we will have some of that, and then we'll have a model to go off of, which will expand to all our trails. In regards to passive recreation, something that I know that I talked to Councilor Clark about is that the 2003 approved plan is only for walking. But that doesn't mean that this committee couldn't redraft a plan and elevate that to town council to have another plan approved if that's something that you wish to do, as Cape Cod Pathways is under your guise. But since we already have that approval from town council, I would encourage town council also be able to review whatever new plan was
Sure.
submitted. And I guess one of the benefits of having the Cape Cod Pathways kind of abandoned for like countywide initiatives, since it was only supposed to be for walking, is that we could relook at what the best vision and mission for our trails are as a town. So that's something we could certainly look at.
I think that in the last 20 years, the use patterns have changed.
Oh, yeah.
And the other thing I think is that we need to look at responsible dog owners.
Okay.
And I'm someone who was attacked by a dog who was and rushed to Cape Cod Hospital, you know, with and I fairly continuously see people with dogs off leash in our conservation areas, and I'm a senior, so I could be injured by a dog attacking me, and many of the dogs are very defensive. You know, if there's no one else in the woods and there's a human walking up to them. So I think that that we may need to put a focus on walker and biker safety with loose animals.
Okay. These are all good points, Doug, thank you. I was just wondering if we could finally come to an agreement on a central contact, that would be
Yeah.
very key, yeah. So, I know that Grace had been designated as central contact for the town. So, is that a comfortable position for you, or do you
It's
wanna?
still something I could do inquiries from.
Okay.
Land is land, so I might have to get into contact with other staff members and about whether or not we have capacity to do whatever is asked of us. But at least you can still get your communications to me, so yes, I would encourage that.
All right, okay, that's great. So we can add that to the pathways letterhead, whatever it is, you know. Because I think it's really a good situation where you, if you're out on the trail and you see a problem, there's somebody that you can get in touch with rather than to have to go, oh, is that
And whether it's
DPW?
specific,
Yeah.
Gracie, or just a defined call number, that this is gonna be the first
Yeah,
place it
I
goes.
think it's just nice to have.
Yeah,
I wonder
Phone
if we
number.
could do
Yeah.
something like a town mailbox where it was like trail maintenance or something, pathway maintenance, where it could go to not just myself, but an abundance of people. Sometimes that's a little bit more streamlined, but it's something that I will talk about to make sure that we're getting the maintenance out there, because it's important.
Okay, good.
But then like if there's a pet problem, is
Yes,
that something you would handle, or is that?
It would be the animal control officer
Oh,
most
okay.
likely, but I mean, if we can get more contacts out to people and more education about the best contact for staff so we can address these issues, that's something
I
we
mean,
can
is
work
there
on too.
signage stating that all dogs must be leashed or anything like that?
It's a town bylaw.
it's a town bylaw, but it's not.
But it's
And
not on the
and it's not
sign.
enforced.
And it's
If
not
you go
on
over
the
to Cricket
signage.
Cartway,
Yeah.
you get out of the car and there's a dozen dogs off leash.
Going high.
You know, right when you're there. The other thing is, that we really haven't addressed is what the town's policy is for horses. And I haven't seen one on the trails lately, but I have in the past.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And I know there are designated trails on Sandy Neck, but that's not in our purview,
That's a good question.
you know, would be.
And also what you do when you see a horse
Yeah,
on the
like
trail,
right.
how you act.
Step into the woods so you
Well, I
can
mean, you
trample
know,
you.
stop your bike,
Yeah,
stop,
yo,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Bicycles yield to
Yeah.
horses.
Yeah.
Chris.
Thank you very much, Farley. If I may, the town does have a tab that says report a problem that I think goes to DPW. Maybe something like that could be
Oh, good.
a tab that there would be some pre-agreed upon town employees that look after that tab.
That's a good idea.
I'm just guessing on that. And for clarification, I did get this message after I spoke with you, and that was glad to do so, Grace. But Lev had worked for the Cape Cod Commission and contacted Kathy Sfera, who was one of the originators of the Cape Cod Pathway, and Farley used to go on the tip-to-tail walk with her. But when it comes to the pathway being walking only, she told Lev, and Lev's not here, so he shared it with me, that it's not true that it's walking only. She says, through him, we never had regulations for use of the trails. We just said that we'd accept the underlying rules of whatever the town's permitted or didn't permit. So
That's what it states in the plan, is
Yeah,
that it's
so that's-
walking exclusive.
different from what the Cape Cod Commission's vision was originally. It was just going to defer to however the land was acquired. So sometimes it's a renda, they don't have hunting. If it's acquired with state funds, then it must have hunting, so that the way it was acquired will have different protocol on, or specifics on the conditions on which that those funds would enable the land to be used. Just putting that out there.
Okay.
But I understand what you said about the 2003 plan.
Yeah, that was what was stated there, which is all the
References
documentation that we had off of what was formally adopted.
Sure, yeah, just wanted to get.
No, that's good information. Thank you.
Yeah.
So if we could have your presentation available,
Yeah.
we could, so we can refer to it.
Absolutely.
That would be great, because as we go forward with dealing with pathway issues, it's always nice to have work that you guys have really dug into, so I appreciate that.
Yeah,
It's much more concise than this.
Well, the other thing is that we'll be with Kyle working on the 2025 open space plan. So that is
Good thing to consider.
a good thing to consider on making recommendations to the town council if we see areas that we need to change from that 2003 plan.
Yes, there's probably many.
And if I may, you said that the grant writer, Alice, is working on a funding mechanism. When do we expect to hear about something like that?
I would say, I don't know, that's more Kyle's area than mine right now, but I would say
Yeah.
shortly, within the next few
Yeah,
months.
well, they're gonna have to make an application to the CPC, so when's it?
I see.
But soon,
I see
sooner
how-
rather than later at this point.
All right, any further discussion on this topic at this point? No? So, also, this document, is that online anywhere?
Yeah.
They're all, I did both the presentation and the plan are on Laserfiche, which I linked in the email that I sent around, but I can send it again.
That's great, no, that's wonderful,
But
thank
Carly,
you.
are you looking for this to maybe be a link on the website so that the public could get it anytime?
Yes, I think that would be great.
I think it's either under the Pathways tab for conservation.
Yep.
It might be there.
Yeah, it'd be nice to,
But if there's work that might be related to conservation and the open space committee, can it be?
Yeah,
Access
absolutely.
both.
cross over.
Exactly.
That'd be great, all right. Okay, yeah, the more of the stuff that we have, that we can click on, the better, I think,
And I would just add that I think that we really need to engage the public in this process.
Right,
That
would,
and not act in a vacuum,
okay,
but really reach out to stakeholders.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Grace, in your survey, how did you
So those were the stakeholders that were originally outlined in the plan and
Okay.
later identified with some other work, and then some other people that I currently work with that weren't identified, I included.
Okay.
Our process really was to survey in the scope of the plan, not like a planning process about revisioning what Cape Cod Pathways and Barnstable could look like. But I think that would be a good exercise for this committee to do because it's been such a long time and things have changed.
Sure.
Okay, so I mean, you got 6 responses to this survey, is that correct?
Yes, out of
Yeah.
40.
Yeah. Out of how many did you?
40, I sent it to 40 people.
Okay, yeah. So that's kind of minimal, anyway, but it's a start, okay, great. All right, well, let's move on to our next item.
Thank you.
Unless there are any further questions, okay. And that is going to be the open space and recreation plan. You're off? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, Kyle,
Hello.
hello, welcome.
So I believe Jenna sent around, thank you Jenna for
Yeah.
sending around the link for the draft survey. I do have some comments from Lev. I don't know if you want me to start reading his comments.
Sure.
So on the introduction, he'd like to include biking, equestrian, and cross-country skiing as examples of passive recreation. Definitely do that, no problem. On question 1, you wanted to add the Marshall's Mills pickleball courts to the list. Absolutely, can do that. Question 2, add to the question during the summer season. I'm not sure of the context, but.
I sort of disagree with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because I think, people utilize the recreational open space areas year round, so,
Jenna, do you have the survey? You want to just pull up
Yeah,
question
okay.
2? So it's how often do you visit the following town-owned beach facilities in Barnstable? Love suggested adding during the summer season.
summer season, yeah, but.
But I see your point, definitely.
Yeah,
People use the beach year round.
No?
yeah.
So we'll leave that one out.
And
There are
the
some
ice
people
pop.
who swim year round. Crazy people.
Crazy.
All right, yeah, so we'll leave that one out.
Okay.
Question 7, he suggested adding the choices mountain biking, horseback riding, cross-country skiing, and disc golf.
I would add also snowshoeing.
Snowshoe. Not sure how to spell the shoeing part of snowshoeing,
Yeah,
but
I
I'll
know.
figure it out.
Draw a picture.
I have a suggestion on your first section where you're listing all the conservation areas that may be used and how often you use them.
Yep.
It's often, and this would be a good place to gather this information, it's often important to know if the survey taker is not even aware of that conservation area. So you could add one column that just says, I'm not aware of this conservation area.
Yep.
And that will provide you with some information in that same question.
I think, I would agree that
Just like that.
negative responses are very important, and that's one thing I wanted to get into at some point here, but,
What question is that? Can I just
The
go
one
back
with
to
all the
start?
conservation areas and how often do you use them?
Yeah.
People may
I'm just
go
trying to
through
see
that.
how it's, okay, so you
I-
have
If you have
not
room
even
to add a
aware.
column and
Yep.
you're just not aware of it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Not aware.
Really
Whether
has
it's
so-
all, any or
Don't vote.
all of these?
either don't go or don't go, don't know.
Don't, yeah.
Don't go, don't know.
About this area,
There were some that I didn't know where they were.
or, yeah,
Now, where's child's property?
I don't know if once a year and rarely are similar enough that it's not gonna give you any discernible difference in your data.
Right.
You guys can figure out, but I've authored some open space plans before and
Yeah.
try to gather as much information as you can get.
it's great, yeah.
I mean, should they have, like, what town these are in by any chance?
Village,
Or village? Like,
We can add that.
yeah, cause where is child's property?
I know.
Well, we don't even know if they're
Where?
town of
Child's
Barnstable
property.
residents.
Now she's saying, for the choices of the conservation areas, maybe add in a parentheses on the bottom, Marshall's Mills, Katuitt,
under-
West
under-
Barnstable.
Yeah, I think
that-
that would
I
be
thought
a
you
good
said where
I
they
have
go.
a better idea of,
That
oh
might
yeah, I
give them-
have been to that
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
And my thought about, don't go, well, why not, and
What's
is
the matter
like,
with you?
for each choice might be a different response, you know, like no parking,
Or
don't feel safe.
Are
you
you
know.
aware of these trails kind of thing?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
do you know about this area?
Yeah, what,
Or,
There is an open-ended at the end if you like wanted to expand upon, you know,
Yeah.
anything you said in there. Yeah, we could just simply add not aware of or don't, you know,
yeah,
don't
Don't-
know
Well,
it.
I do like Dave's idea, the once a year and rarely. Not sure if it,
Yeah, we could
one of
probably,
those could go.
we could probably
and-
just say rarely, that
Yeah.
kind of.
yeah, really. Yeah. Okay. But it's interesting to me to know why you wouldn't visit a place. Either you don't know about it or
Right.
there's something about it that you don't like.
Yeah.
Too remote and it's
Yeah.
scary or.
Scary.
So that's another reason to add that choice, because if you have the choice of both don't go and don't know, and you choose don't go, that means you know about it, but you're not going. So that gives us data on if there's some sort of problem.
I don't know if you could fit a note under each conservation
Yeah.
area with,
Yeah, I can ask,
explain.
Yeah,
might be a little busy.
yeah,
I know.
Do you just have a question at the end about, you know,
I
comment
think
on
there is
the-
something like that, yeah.
I know, it's sort of like, there's a question here that says,
there's so many lawn ponds too.
number 5,
There's another thing.
Yeah.
There's like 3.
it says, how long does it take you to walk to a park or recreation area? And then, you know, gives you 0 to 5, up to 15 minutes. And then the final question is, I do not visit parks and recreation areas in Barnstable. And you kind of go, you know, I mean, that'd be useful information.
Well, is there anything that keeps
I
you
don't
from
like to be
using
outside.
recreation?
Yeah,
Number
I mean,
6.
that's good,
What-
like, you know, is it too,
I forget the exact
Strenuous.
wording on the open-ended one at the end, does it, can you jump to that, Jenna, if you don't mind? Yeah, so we could
Yeah.
maybe just add one, or we could massage that says, or we could just add a question that says, if there's any specific areas that you avoid, what are they and why do you avoid them, or something
Yeah.
along like that.
When I was doing this survey, like I was thinking like Long Beach, for example. That's not on the list or was it? Did you know, like
It
going,
wasn't.
yeah,
It wasn't.
like going there, right? It
Oh,
might
right.
be like every couple of months I go,
Yeah.
when somebody visits.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like that
Right.
kind of,
yeah,
or like, you know, Hathaway's Pond, I might, you know, if I'm in Hyannis and I walk back to Barnstable, I might loop through Hathaway's.
Right.
You know, it's random.
Hmm.
It isn't like once a week or,
Yeah, well, it's tough to like get them in quantifiable terms that's
yeah,
gonna
no,
fit
I know,
everybody's
I know.
situation,
Yeah,
but
So
yeah,
maybe to accommodate Doug's suggestion, when you say once a week or once a month, maybe you wanna say more than once a week or less than once a week or something like that. That might capture the range.
yeah.
yeah. I
I'll
don't
talk
know,
to our
like,
consultant about
yeah,
that.
whether how the average person visits these places. Is it that, you know, they think about it, is it because we did a walk in that area?
Yeah.
And then, and people went,
Became aware.
yeah.
Like
Like, the other
proximity
thing
to
is like,
home.
Meeting House Farm, although it's a town-owned property, but it's managed by someone privately.
Yeah.
That was a really attended walk.
Yeah.
You know, there were 15 people that came to that walk. And, it is a private group that manages it.
Also, I have to say, they have their own audience. So
Yes.
when there was a message that there was a walk,
They
it
could-
got sent out in the traditional ways. And in addition, they likely, I'm guessing, sent it to their audience. But I'm speculating. Same thing for the Barnstable Land Trust events. They echo,
they have their
they
mailing
echo our
list, yeah.
announcement with a message or forward to their audience. Just saying.
I was just wondering if we could include something about walking weekends, you know? Is this something that you have attended in the past? Would you consider going to?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know about?
Walking weekend.
Yeah, it's just think about stuff that will inform, this is specifically about the open space plan, you know?
Yeah.
So, if you think that would be helpful for the update of the open space plan, it's not necessarily to get feedback on how well walking weekend's going though, you know?
I see.
We wanna
No, I'm
keep it focused, but if you think that's gonna be a discussion of the open space plan, it would be relevant.
Well, if it gets people out to the areas, right?
Yep.
okay.
Would you like me to continue on Lev's list?
Sure.
Yes.
So he said, clarify the option that says biking, scootering, or skateboarding to correspond to skate park activities, and also add pickleball to the list of recreational programs. So we can do that.
Does the town offer pickleball lessons?
I don't think so, right?
So.
Yeah, it's like at Marston's Mills, I know they have the time that it's,
For beginners.
where they $5 to be able to, for a
It's a
membership.
pretty easy game to learn, so.
And then,
I've never played, so.
Yeah, pretty easy to learn.
so that you can team with people that play and.
Yeah, so that's what you do, if you wanted to learn, you would just go to the Marston's Mills court at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's better than taking a
I
lesson.
know, they have extra rackets and there always seems to be somebody, like you said.
You should pick it up, I can't believe, I'm shocked to hear you've never played.
And I used to play more than 3 hours of tennis a day.
Jeez.
Growing up, I did.
Don't go
Yeah,
to the
oh, yeah.
dark side.
Punk.
Alright.
And then he's got question 11, change prioritize to priorities. And then two choices are similar, maybe one choice should be for residents 18 to 65 because it says expanding recreational programming opportunities for residents under the age of 18, and then there's another one for expanding recreational opportunities for teens. So we could hit a different age demographic, I agree with that.
Good.
Yep, and that's it.
Okay. Has anybody else got some ideas, thoughts in the survey? How does this get distributed?
Yeah, so that was gonna be my next thing. Once we have a meeting set up with our consultant on, I think, Thursday this week. So I'm going to give them all of these edits, have them make it, and then we're gonna blast it out through all the kind of normal town channels. You know, we'll have a press release, I'll put it on social media. I think we'll have a flyer as well that we'll distribute at the different libraries, and we'll definitely make sure that you guys have copies of this. So if you know of any groups to distribute it to, we can definitely use your help. But yeah, once you guys approve of this tonight, we're gonna try to get it out as soon as possible, probably later this week, and probably leave it open for at least a month. And yeah, we'll try to blast it far and wide. And if you guys have any suggestions, any people you'd like us to talk to, happy to do that.
Is it possible to have a QR code? Because if there was a brochure,
Yeah.
like at the college,
Yeah.
or in the Sturgis Library, or anywhere,
Yeah, absolutely.
at the YMCA.
Yeah, I think that's our plan, to have a flyer with a QR code on it.
Yeah, because younger people are going to scan something.
Yeah.
I can never get mine to work.
That's what, it's also like why the tiny URL is kind of nice too, because you can just type that in too.
Yeah.
People more comfortable with
Yeah.
that. So
Is this gonna be all electronic or electronic and?
we'll do some, you know, drop off some hard copies at the libraries for people who don't have
Yeah.
access to computers.
I mean, would BLT be a good thing?
Yeah, we definitely will,
Yeah.
we'll share with all those type of
Because they do
groups.
so many walks and talks.
Good.
Well, and some of the properties are adjacent.
Yeah.
Right.
The-
Yeah, so like I said, we're meeting with our consultant on Thursday. Once we get this finalized, we'll basically start mapping out our plan of exactly how everything's gonna go. The first part will be the survey for about a month, collecting data. We're gonna have a couple public meetings in the fall. But I'll have hopefully some more concrete timelines for everything. You know, the next time I speak to you, because we're really kicking it off in full force with the consultant this week, so.
Would it be possible to insert an incentive for somebody to fill out the survey and all respondents get a ticket for a drawing for something? I'm trying to.
Yeah, what we did, I think we did for the LCP one was like, yeah, exactly, everyone was entered in a drawing for something, I forget what we gave away. But we'll need to have a budget for whatever, or like a
I
giveaway
wonder
or
if we
something.
can get tickets for the, say, the JFK Museum or the Maritime Museum or something like
Good
that.
idea.
There'll be tickets, we could probably get them
I'll-
comped,
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, right.
I'll think about that. I'll
Trying
I'll
to-
task Director Cupford on that, he's usually good with those
Okay.
kind of things, so.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, how do we entice somebody to actually get to the end and send it?
Yeah, it's.
Also by not making it too long is also the other
That
part.
is definitely.
It is a hefty
Yeah.
survey, that's for sure, so. Yeah.
So with those changes we discussed tonight, are you guys comfortable with?
Do you want us to take a vote?
Sure.
Yep, okay. So is there any further discussion regarding this document?
How many total questions?
What was it, like 16, 17, and then some demographic ones? And I'm sure the demographic ones are
Yeah, they,
optional too. Yeah, so we'll add one, so it'll be 17.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, these mapper things are pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's different.
that's part of why we wanted this consultant team, they're good.
Yep. All right. Okay, so shall we take a vote on this as to whether or not we're going to accept it? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody want to make a motion, please?
Make a motion that we accept this as
Survey,
survey, yes,
okay, for the open space and recreation plan.
exactly.
Okay, very good. All right,
Second.
all in favor?
Second.
Second? Yep, Kate, seconds, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you very much,
I
we're
think
making
it's done.
progress,
There we
we're on our
go.
way.
There we go.
Scary business, all right. Thank you very much, Kyle,
Thank you.
as always. Yep.
You too.
Thank you.
Gotta get to planning board next.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah.
All right, so, the next item is gonna be, to deal with the open space acquisition form that Chris is getting
Well, it was, thank you
together.
very much for
Okay.
coming.
Thank you.
It was suggested to me that perhaps it's time to mimic what the forum that I believe it was Harwich hosted recently. Do you recall if that's where it was? It was done in conjunction with the Cape Cod Compact of Conservation Trusts. And it was just an overview on the benefits of open space acquisition. What are the environmental benefits?
Taxes.
What are some of the what are some of the tools, you know, the, either using the state's land tax credit program, how it works, who's involved, you know, what are conservation restrictions, just a general primer. We've done that, something similar in the past. Haven't done it in a while.
Right.
And it would be something that, if this committee is open to being the primary sponsor for it, then it's likely that it can be done here at Town Hall as a function of a town committee. And host our partners in with it for a PowerPoint type of show and tell that could be recorded and then perhaps played on the town's website as one of their podcasts, one of their video clips.
Sounds like a good idea.
It does.
So there's not a lot of appetite for doing anything in the summer. And once September comes in, there's catch up to, and there's competition for rooms and the videographer and all that. I happen to know that the town council will be moving forward on its process for developing a strategic plan that we haven't freshened in a while. So that will likely be done on two council meetings in September on the off Thursday, but I'm just saying, I don't know if there's an appetite for this type of forum to be some evening or on a weekend or what or how, but I present that to you as something that I think would be timely for this committee to sponsor.
Who would lead it, or who would present?
Probably the host of this committee would be the host of the group, but then could invite Janet Milkman from Barnstable Land Trust and Mark Robinson to
Right.
talk
I
about
mean,
the
Mark's done so many of these.
land trusts, the tax credits.
Yeah,
We can talk about the process,
right,
what's the timeline, just
Yeah.
the four corners of it. We have hosted him making this presentation before. So I'm just saying,
Yeah.
people who have, there are new people who live in town since the last time that was done, new counselors, that it's just like the benefits of open space. Sometimes are not very apparent, and the perception from many are, if land is acquired by the town for open space preservation, then it's costing the town because property is taken off the tax rolls. It's as simple as that there's this prevailing mindset or awareness, and the full spectrum of benefits of open space acquisition. It's non-reliance on, on town services as opposed to residential development. The whole suite of ecological services could be explained.
And recreation.
And recreation, sure. Yeah. So anyways, I understand that people around this table are aware of that, but not necessarily the majority of the general population.
Yeah.
And things may have changed in the people's lives, but also in the legislation or how the tax credit is.
and both Janet and Mark would be up to speed on
how
all
things
of
have
that.
changed in how it's administered. So if there's some, the collective will for something like that to happen, I can put in a request for. If so, then share that with Lev when he comes back. How does he want to construct this agenda? What day or evenings are you looking at? Start looking for availability of, first ask permission. Can we have it here,
Right,
And if so, then where,
yeah.
If it's gonna be in the evening, we need a videographer. If you want to play this or have it as a stockpile lesson. Anyways,
I'll bet in Harwich they did it at the community center. So
I'm
maybe
sorry.
we could use the senior center. They might have facilities there that are large enough.
sure. But I would say that probably a value of doing something like this is to make sure it gets captured on videotape. If they can videotape it at the senior center, fine, but there are many more cameras here, acoustically, it might be a better deliverable.
Sure.
It's done. Right. So I'm just saying that I can talk with the people who are more involved. But we'd have to, I'd talk to Lev about it and then scope out an agenda or what we're trying to do. And 2 tracks, see how we want to move forward on this. We can give you news, an update in August, because I don't expect that we want to do anything before August. So, and get some update on that.
So at this point, do you have a working list of participants that you might start with?
No, I just was forward to Lev this
Yes.
workshop that was done in Harwich, if
Oh,
that's
good.
where it was.
Okay.
It was some time ago, I'd have to look
Yeah.
that up again. And see if we want to mimic it or a variation on that.
Yeah.
What this committee does, because it would be an open space committee venture. We could pitch the open space and recreation plan if that's still, if the survey is still live then or whatever. I'm just saying
Yeah.
it may or may not be.
Right.
So probably what this committee does, what are the tools for acquisition, how the town works with BLT, how it's different from BLT.
And CPC.
That's what I mean, the whole
Yeah.
suite of
Right.
factors that are for consideration if somebody
And then I would think you
wants to
want
sell their land, gift their land, do a bargain sale,
Yeah.
all those.
maybe somebody from water to speak.
The fire
Water.
districts.
Yeah, like the water
Sure.
department, perhaps.
Yeah, I think informing the public about benefits of open space, you know, 'cause like you were saying, they just see it, oh, it's taken off the tax rolls. If they could have a look at the whole picture about what the benefits are, I think that's really important, because people
Yeah,
don't think about that.
And I'm not sure if Mark Robinson or Janet Milkman have access to more current data that shows when land is acquired for open space, what happens to the surrounding property values, you know, how does that,
All those positives.
yeah, how does that present itself to the town for costs and benefits?
Yeah.
So I can work on that with Lev.
Great, okay, well,
I think it's a valuable exercise.
Definitely.
yeah,
Like I said, we haven't done that in quite some time.
Yeah, but I just mentioned to, you know, we were having a little session with the LT people, and I said, people actually, I think, need a good description of what conservation restrictions are and what they do and how they come about. What does it mean for the land? Because people don't know.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like, it's been a while, let's freshen up the
Right.
lesson and bring it forward. If done in the fall, it might, I can imagine it's reaching an audience where snowbirds who might have property would still be able to make better, be able to avail themselves of the lesson,
Yeah.
whether they attend in person or just watch the
Yeah.
video.
That's true.
great. Okay. Thumbs up, sounds great. All right, I think we're all set. As far as old business is concerned, Ann's not here to talk about the Centerville Cranberry Bog. Potential property acquisitions and the CPC open space applications were all covered. At our last meeting, the CPC met on June 2nd, and so I think I've got you all updated on that. And there are no updates from Jim regarding CRs. And update pathways, including walking library trailhead signs and geocaching. Anybody have anything to talk about there? No? Okay, moving along. Tracy, stand to it.
The only thing that's happened out there since we met last, the town of Mashpee improved an approach to that big bog. There was a kind of a steep drop down to the
Oh, yeah.
rock in the trail that goes around the pond. Worked that over the last 2 weeks, it's probably more conducive to going down it in a gruesome manner. Other than that, it's quiet.
We'll have to come over for a site visit then.
Did they get grant money to do that?
Do they what?
Get grant money?
No, they just, Dan Kent was out there with a bunch of volunteers, on his weekend, leading the crew. And he can just, he makes things happen, which is nice.
Thanks for being on it.
All right, then unless there's anything that anybody wants to bring forth at this point, I think we've gone through the agenda.
Well, I just wanna follow up on signage. That
Yeah.
was, and it's important.
Yes.
Because I just came back from Shelter Island and we went on a trail walk and the signage was poor. And it was really frustrating.
Okay, yeah. Well, I think everybody likes a good sign.
I mean, also their map was
Horrible.
horrible.
So pretty.
They don't want
So
people
pretty.
On Shelter Island.
All
The
right.
worst map, we were like, we should just burn this thing.
Here.
Yeah,
Not
no,
bad.
it's very disappointing.
Okay, duly noted.
Okay,
All right. Otherwise,
so you
Move
don't
to-
have anything from CPC yourself?
no, I did,
That's it. Yeah.
I reported it at our last meeting. They leapfrogged.
Okay.
We leapfrogged. Okay. So, move to adjourn, anyone?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Thank you.
all done.